Hello and welcome to another episode of our virtual information session. My name is Mike Strauss and I am the chair of the school counseling department. Today we are going to discuss the concept of Cura Personalis, which is a Latin term which means care for the whole person. And to do that today, we will have a small panel joined by some of our faculty and staff who deal with things outside of the classroom. We have our Director of Mission, Father Dan Ream. We have our College Counseling Department Chair, Mrs. Linda Gabor, and we have our school psychologist, Mrs. Melissa Lessick. So before we begin and examine our specific roles, would anyone care to just add anything else about Cura Personalis from their point of view?
So I work with a lot of students that have learning disabilities. So when I think of Cura Personalis, I think of educationally what that means for them. So students that have accommodation plans for things like ADHD or learning disability, anxiety, those kind of things. We really try to cater to their educational needs so that we meet them where they are and give them what they need, whether it's in the classroom or with their counselor or in the Walton Center. So those are some things that I work with that help kind of focus on that Cura Personalis for the individual student educationally.
In the college process, obviously, it would seem that the most obvious choice would be to look at location, academic programming, majors, career choices. But I think we try to delve a little bit deeper with the students to get them to look at not only the academic piece of the puzzle, but also the social piece. And we concentrate a lot on the spiritual piece too, and their spiritual growth and how they can continue to thrive and foster that in the college setting. We also meet with all the families because that's a big component of Cura Personalis. For families, obviously the financial piece is of key interest. So I think rather than just looking at what college do you want to go to, what academic major do you want to have, we look at it more from looking at the entire person, where the best fit would be from an academic standpoint, socially, mentally, emotionally, but also the spiritual component.
The idea of Cura Personalis, the care of the person, is trying from the attitude of the teachers or the coaches or everyone working at the school. Our attitude towards our students is, not looking at them in a segmented way, just the academic or the intellectual, but recognizing that every individual is different and that we need to pay attention to the particular gifts or the particular struggles that a student has, and with the large goal in mind of how do we help to shape this young man into becoming a full, healthy, complete human being. And it's a big challenge, but it's a great thing to be about.
Next, we will kind of go from that 30,000-foot view to a ground level view. And each of us will take a few minutes and explain a little more specifically what our day-to-day roles are. And I will start with the school counseling department. When a student is accepted into Saint Ignatius High School, he will be assigned a school counselor. That school counselor will work with that student all 4 years. So it really gives some time to develop a strong relationship with that student. Counselors really get to know their students. The first role of a counselor, and probably the most obvious role, is the academic support. This can start as simple as each year meeting with students to talk about classes and choosing appropriate classes in view or in light of the strengths and weaknesses of that student. For younger students, especially the freshmen, another area that school counselors really help out with is that transition to high school. A lot of times, students can find it's a bumpy road. Just the amount of work, the amount of expectations, just trying to go from a grade school where they knew everybody to a high school where they may not know too many people. So there's a lot that goes into a transition to Saint Ignatius High School. We can work with students to teach them time management skills and organizational skills. Usually, if a student struggles, a lot of that struggle does deal with organization. And so we will spend some time talking about things like using a planner and keeping track of assignments. As students get older, sometimes that conversation shifts to motivation. And so oftentimes we will talk with our students about that as well. Besides academics, we really provide any kind of other emotional or social support for our students throughout the 4 years. We hope it's a smooth ride, but we know that life will often throw some bumps in the road. Another thing is we partner with all the schools in our area. So, sometimes we will get a phone call from a different school about one of our students, or, one of our counselors will have to make a call to another school about a concern. And so, not only do we care for just the students at St. Ignatius High School, but, we try to be as much of a community as we can to all of our students. When students present bigger issues, maybe they are dealing with depression, anxiety, some of those, more serious mental health issues, the school counseling department is really a resource for families as well. So we can provide, recommendations or lists of doctors, medical agencies outside of our own community for further help. I like to say that the school counselors are, advocates for our students, and we're also that safety net for anything that might come about. So Melissa is down the hall from me as a colleague. Again, she's not only a school counselor, but she is our school psychologist. She does work more closely with our students with learning disabilities. So I'd like to pass the mic over to her and give her a few minutes to talk specifically about students who come to us with learning disabilities and what kind of supports that we offer to those students.
Thanks, Mike. So like Mike said, I work with a lot of the students that have learning disabilities. So students that come to Ignatius from other Catholic schools, public schools that have either IEPs, 504, SAGO plans, we can convert those accommodations into our own Cura plan. So things like extended time on tests and quizzes, that's the most popular accommodation that our students need. Preferential seating, copies of teachers' notes. We also have a really great learning center called the Walton Center for Learning. And we have Emily Samak, who is in there as our kind of lead director. And we have a few intervention specialists that work with students. They're really great. They work with students on organization, note-taking, tutoring, study skills. So that's a great thing that we like to put on these accommodations so that students can, receive those services. We also have a writing lab that each period a different English teacher is in there, and they can help students organize their thoughts, look at their rough drafts. And it doesn't have to just be for English class, it could be for any subject. We also have different computer programs where students can dictate and can use it kind of as books on tape. So if a student has a reading disability and they need help with comprehension, we can put novels on there, textbooks, where the computer can read those to the student and they can pick the pace, they can pick the voice that they prefer to listen to. So that helps with students that have reading disabilities, ADHD. So those are some of the accommodations that we offer. Typically, 8th grade parents will reach out to me in the spring of 8th grade year so that I can start working on those plans for those students. Typically, we ask for accommodation plans, like a copy of what they had in 8th grade year or a copy of IEPs. We also ask for diagnoses from the doctor so that we can put all that information onto their plan, so that when they start in August, their teacher can get a copy of our plan and kind of have the best footing possible when they start 8th grade year. So any 8th grade parents coming in, I really recommend that they contact me in the spring so that we can get that ball rolling so that their student can have those accommodations that they need to be successful. And I kind of follow them for 4 years to give them that extra support. I check in with them. I do some updated testing so they're ready for college. And I work closely with the Walton Center to make sure that those students get the services that they need.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. One thing to continue to note, as a school that celebrates diversity, equity, and inclusion, we do find that sometimes parents are a little hesitant to disclose a learning disability. We feel that, or we see that parents may fear that the school would hold that against a student, which we definitely do not. Again, that's why Melissa, the Walton Center, all our support staff is available. We want to help bring out the best out of your student. So there's no need to worry about disclosing any kind of that learning disability information. We're here to help, and we want to help your son achieve his fullest potential. All right, next we're going to shift gears to start to think about life after St. Ignatius and the college process. So Linda, if you could just explain a little bit more in depth about when students get assigned a college counselor and what that process looks like, that would be great.
Sure. So in about November, December of their junior year, the students get assigned a college counselor. They still retain their school counselor, but now they also pick up a college counselor, and we work in collaboration with the school counselors. While the bulk of the college process takes place in second semester junior year and all the way through senior year, we do a little bit of programming with our freshmen and sophomores, more low-key, again, trying to emphasize the same things that the school counseling staff is emphasizing with the students in terms of getting off to a good start. So we meet with the freshmen in a large group, and we talk to them about identifying some of their strengths and weaknesses, and then working with their school counselor to foster their strengths and to work on some of their weaknesses so that they do get their transition to St. Ignatius is off to a good start. In sophomore year, again, we do it in a large group. We talk to them more about trying to identify some of their interests. In sophomore year, they do participate in sophomore service, a service program where they go out into the community. So while freshman year is sort of looking internally at themselves, now they're starting to look outside the St. Ignatius community and starting to identify, perhaps extracurriculars that they might be involved in, and also the service, which is a big part of St. Ignatius's experience. In junior year, when we start to meet with them, in the first semester, we meet more in groups, small groups, to talk to them about some of the nuts and bolts of the college admissions process, including standardized test scores, again, their grades, and to do a little bit of research on colleges. We have over 125 colleges who visit our campus each year to offer group information sessions. Then at the beginning of the second semester of their junior year, we meet individually with each family so that we're talking about a specific student's interests and what colleges they might be interested in, what majors, what programming. And while the student comes to that meeting with a finite list, we try to expand where they're looking, to look beyond just maybe the usual typical colleges that our students look at within the state of Ohio. And we try to get them to look beyond that. One of the driving considerations that we really try to get the students to think about is something that our former president, Father Robert Welsh, brought to the school, which is discernment in this process and what does God want from me? So we really try to incorporate that into the college search process. Hopefully after the individual family meeting where we talk about programming, the financial piece, of course, that's always important for parents. And we try to expand their list to look beyond so that they can really do some in-depth research throughout the second semester of their junior year. Then when they come back in senior year, that's where we really get into a really intensive year. We meet again individually with each senior, going over the schools they're interested in, what the application requirements are for each of the schools. We work with them on their college applications. We help them with their essays, although our English teachers in each of the senior English teachers also will work very closely with each individual student on their essays. We also review all of their college applications before they submit them to the colleges to make sure that all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed before they send anything off. We also have a really good list of scholarship opportunities for the students that we make them aware of throughout their senior year, so that, as I said, the financial piece is really important to them and to their families, and this provides some opportunities for them to maybe garner some scholarship money that can help them pay for their colleges.
Thank you very much, Linda. And I will give an endorsement to the department, not only as a colleague, but recently I've had two sons go through and work with Saint Ignatius's College Counseling Department. And so they definitely know what they're talking about and are able to find some hidden gems and some really special places.
We have two major programs in senior year for the students, for our seniors. One of them is called the Day of Discernment, where we invite alumni from different careers throughout the greater Cleveland area to come back and speak to our seniors in small groups. All of the seniors will sign up individually to meet with particular alumni who are in a career path that maybe perhaps they're interested in. What we find is making that connection with the alumni is really a key component for them to view the bigger picture about what's going to happen to them after graduation. And the alumni kind of brings that home for them. And it's very interesting because sometimes they had a really clear picture of what they wanted to do when they left St. Ignatius. But again, bringing back that component of what does God want from me, sometimes God takes you in a different direction than what you thought you would be. Then in the spring of their senior year, we have what's called a College Readiness Day. We started that program in 2016, and we've expanded it. Last year, we had a professor from Notre Dame College who talked to the students, did a really good job of breaking down a student's day on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis, the academic component of what a student's typical day or week would be like, and giving them advice and hints how to manage that day-to-day basis. We also had the Rape Crisis Center talk to our students, again, about some really serious challenges that they may face when they're at college and going to parties and such. We also had one of our older alums came back and talked to them about depression and suicide and how to get help if you're suffering from any of those, or if you just don't know where to go. And I think those two programs, both the career piece from our alums and the basic emotional health, mental health, social aspect of the college process, I think is something that maybe our students don't really think about. We've had alums come back from some of those early years when we had that programming who told us that while at the time when they were hearing it, when they were seniors, they didn't think it would matter all that much to them, but yet when they got to college, they remembered a lot of that advice that they got on both of those days, and it really helped them to navigate some of the challenges that they experienced while they were in college.
Thank you very much, Linda. Finally, I'd like to jump over to Father Dan. He's going to talk to us a little bit about campus ministry. I think sometimes campus ministers and the campus ministry department is looked at as a separate entity or an extension of theology, but as Father Dan will talk about, there is a lot of crossover in terms of just Cura Personalis, discernment, and really exploring what it's like to be a teenager these days. So Father Dan, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Yes, we have a wonderful campus ministry department. Its primary function is to help all of our students incorporate their faith in a more concrete, specific way as they're developing from freshman year to sophomore, junior, senior. Obviously, as they grow and develop and mature, their faith does as well. So we offer a variety of retreats for the students. The most popular is the Kairos retreat, which has been, boy, it's got to be 25 years or so that retreat at this Jesuit school and many other Jesuit schools is a real popular experience for students to share with each other what's going on in their own interior lives, something that they don't often do. So it provides them a great opportunity for them to really understand the life situation of other students and to feel that they are heard as well. And in that, they come to have a sense of God being present and caring for them in their lives. So that's one of the several retreats that we offer. Campus ministry is also responsible for coordinating the masses that we have on campus, whether they're all school masses or smaller individual class masses. And they help with other sacramental ministry or other religious programs that we have for all of our students. And then they also coordinate our service immersion program. So we provide students a chance to really kind of go outside of their comfort zone, whether that's within the city of Cleveland or other places within the United States, or even outside the country. And they're wonderful opportunities that help them to see the world in a broader experience than just their own hometown. And they can be very transformative experiences. So campus ministry does just a wonderful job of welcoming students and helping them to interact with each other, get to know the students, and to begin exploring some of the bigger parts of what is our life about? Who are we about? What makes life meaningful and worthwhile?
Thank you, Father. I did have a quick question for you. As an extension of our campus ministry department, there's something called SPA. And I think, we could all use a little SPA time right now. But SPA at Saint Ignatius has a little different meaning. So maybe you could, spend a minute or two and just talk about that for us, please.
Sure. SPA stands for the Spirituality Program for Adults. So several years ago, some of the parents were saying, we hear you teaching our students about Ignatian spirituality and how that's a worldview that helps them to look at their life from a faith perspective. We kind of want to know what that is too. And so we've started this program for parents, for alumni, for friends who want to come and learn more about Ignatian spirituality and how they also can grow in their faith.
Great, thank you. Finally, I just want to touch for a moment on the idea of service at Saint Ignatius High School. Every year, our students perform more than 15,000 hours of voluntary service through the Christian Action Team, or what is informally referred to as CAT. CAT is an umbrella service organization at St. Ignatius, and we gather weekly for all students to discuss and share about their experiences and the people that they serve. It's important to note that, this the hours that our students accumulate is strictly voluntary. We don't keep track of these hours. We don't monitor these hours. We don't set a requirement. And so I think it's a true testament to how students really embrace the notion and the values of care for one another, and they take that out with them into the programming. Some programs that fall under the CAT umbrella that people may have heard of would include the Labra Ministry for the Homeless, our St. Joseph of Arimathea Pallbearer Society, and coming up in the near future, our Christmas food drive, where we will collect food and create over 700 baskets that we will deliver to our neighbors in need during the Christmas time. So if any one of you would like to just jump in for a moment and either, talk about the importance of service, or, what you have seen in your roles in terms of service and how it may impact the student, or how it helps the student grow with their experience, I will give you a moment for that.
When they're looking at the particular colleges that they may want to go to, I had a student a few years ago who had been a very active volunteer in the Larch program at Saint Ignatius, which is for physically and mentally handicapped adults. And when he was going through the college search process, he was looking specifically for colleges that were nearby other Larch homes where he could continue to participate in that program. We also know of students who are in the Labra Ministry, which serves our homeless population here in Cleveland. They have started those Labra programs at their colleges and introduced other students from across the country into the programs. The same with the Pallbearer Ministry. So I think it had such a huge impact on them here that they wanted to continue with it. And if their colleges didn't offer it, they started the programs there at their particular colleges.
From the counseling perspective, when I meet with students and they're trying to find ways to connect with other students on campus, maybe they didn't come here from their grade school with a lot of other students or a lot of friends, joining those kind of service activities can be a good social thing for them to do on campus. They get to connect with students that like to do the same things as they do. It kind of raises their self-esteem. They feel good about helping people, and it's infectious. Once they start volunteering and helping people and making connections with other students doing those things, it's something they want to continue doing. And like Linda said, even after leaving Ignatius, they like to continue that in college and going forward. So I see the big social aspect and that self-esteem that helps those students that get involved in things like service on campus.
That's a great point. And each year we do have a senior exit interview where we meet in small groups with seniors and discuss their experiences at St. Ignatius. And I will say personally that almost every year there is a senior who regrets that he did not get more involved in service. So especially when he hears the experiences that his peers have had, it is a powerful transformation. So again, we as a community always encourage our students to get involved.
Yeah, the service really gets at the heart of what the mission of our school is. Our hope is to develop students in every dimension of the person, that's the Cura Personalis, so that they become men of character. People who are going to be ready to serve God and capable of making a great difference in the lives of other people. That's why we're here. That's the purpose of this Catholic and Jesuit education, is that these students will go on to be people of great character, people who will go on to do great things and be great people.
Thank you all for joining us. We hope this helps and gives you a little insight into what makes a Jesuit education so special. We look forward to seeing all of you on campus someday soon. Thanks. God bless, and make it a great day.